This is Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV, the viewer's guide to genre television for the weeks of September 13th to September 26th, 2025. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Brent Barrett.
I'm Kevin Batchelder.
And I'm Wendy Hembrock.
And just a little word, by the way, we're back. It hasn't been a month. It's kind of shocking for us to be back after just a couple of weeks. But we're glad to be here. I want to remind you guys that we do have our Discord. Every time we want to remind you about that because it's a great place to hang out, great community, a lot of sharing of news and conversation about shows and that sort of thing. And we also have polls that are running there all the time. So if you want to have your opinion expressed and reported here on the podcast, head on over to Discord. There'll be a link in the show notes.
Yep, I found it interesting, the one you got going now. Some interesting comments and votes and stuff. So I like when it makes me think.
Yep, and there's always some good conversation about the polls.
Yeah, that's some of the best part. All right. Well, let's head on over to the spoiler-free water cooler.
Hello, this is Daryl from the Fringe Podcast. Fringe fans have asked us many times to create a rewatch podcast. That time has finally arrived. I'm excited to announce the Fringe Podcast Rewatch. Of course, I won't be podcasting alone. Hey, you're not Clint. You're Chris.
Well, Clint is tied up doing science-y things right now, so he's not able to join us. But don't worry, he'll hop in from time to time to share some great insights with us.
I can't think of any other person I'd rather have by my side than you, Chris. So what is the Fringe Podcast Rewatch?
The Fringe Podcast Rewatch is a podcast for Fringe fans who have already watched the series at least once. Starting Wednesday, May 18th, we'll rewatch one episode of Fringe, then the following Wednesday, we'll record a podcast episode covering that Fringe episode. We'll repeat this pattern until we've rewatched all 100 episodes of the show. Check out FringeRewatch.com for more info.
And stay Fringe-tastic.
First up on the water cooler, we're going to give the shows that were on over the last 2 weeks, September 15th to September 28th, a rating of watch it now, watch it soon, let it sit, or you can skip it. And there's only 4 shows, so it's going to be a short list, but it's going to be packed with some good stuff, I think. First up, we have the finale of Season 1 of Alien Earth, 2 episodes, Episode 7 of Season 1, Emergence, and Episode 8 of Season 1, The Real Monsters. I'd give them both a watch it now. I loved it.
Yeah, I won't go quite as high, but I'll give them very solid high watch it soons.
I have not seen these yet, but it's very high on my list.
Ooh, can't wait to hear what you think of them. All right, moving on. We have the return of Gen V. That's the Boys spinoff that was actually pretty good in Season 1. I haven't seen Season 2 yet, but there are 4 episodes we want to talk about here, or rate, I should say. Episode 1 of Season 2, New Year, New You. Episode 2 of Season 2, Justice Never Forgets. Episode 3 of Season 2, H is for Human. And Episode 4 of Season 2, Bags. And like I said, haven't seen them yet because I forgot.
Yeah, they've all been solid. I'll go high watch it soon, and then 3 very solid watch it soons.
I've only seen the first 2, and I would give them both solid watch it soon.
All right, cool. I'm going to have to catch up on that. We'll be with you guys next week, next podcast. Also, we have Peacemaker. It's not quite the end of the season yet, but it's getting there. We have Episode 2 of Season 5, Back to the Suture, and Episode 6 of Season 2, Ignorance is Chris. I really enjoyed these. I'd say high watch it soon, and then the Episode 6, I'd say low watch it now.
Yeah, it's finally taken a strong upturn, but I'll go 2 high watch it soons.
I'm not quite there yet, but the first 4 were definitely solid high watch it soon.
And it gets even better. All right, and we had the drop of Marvel Zombies Season 1. It was just a handful of episodes, but I sat down and watched them all. I couldn't stop watching. I really enjoyed it. I'd say high watch it soon.
Yeah, not one I watched.
I did watch this, similar to you, Brent. I watched all 4 like a movie, and I'd say it was a solid watch it soon.
Yeah, there were a lot of people, actually, when I watched people reacting to this, who said they should have made it a movie, edited it as one long movie instead of 4 episodes, but it worked. Okay, moving on to some feedback first before we get into the articles. We have a couple of feedback items. One is a voicemail from Jesse Jackson in Dallas, Texas. He is going to talk about the maybe a little longer Tuner Minute.
You know, I think that's a great question to ask. Often I will because there's so much to watch, I will give I'll give the first episode, and then if it is something I don't like, I probably am going to move on to something else while not taking it off my list, but saying, well, I'll get to it later when I'm maybe in a different mood or in a different attitude, feeling like something else. Now, if it's something someone on the podcast recommended or a friend, then I tend to stick with it. Usually for 3 or even 4 episodes, going, they say they know me, they know what I would like. I'm going to trust their instincts. Now, I may send an email to my friend and go, hey, why did you think I was going to like this? Because so far it's not clicking, but I will give it a benefit of the doubt because, advice that I get from friends or even critics I admire, like, Maureen Ryan or Alan Sipowell, where in the past when they've said something's good, I usually can trust them.
Hey, thanks, Jesse. And kind of in line with what I was talking about, and the whole point kind of this 2 in a Minute is that, do those recommendations that you trust, be it friends or, as you pointed out, a couple of well-known critics. Is that enough if something hasn't quite, clicked for you enough to give you a few more episodes? And it sounds like it is for you and definitely for me. So appreciate the feedback.
Yes, thanks, Jesse. It's nice to hear from you. Nice shout out to some TV critics, which honestly I rely on them less and less and more on friends of the show, my co-hosts, and others, usually for some of my first line recommendations. Thanks again. It's great to hear from you.
Yeah, Wendy, I'm right there with you up until Jesse mentioned like Maureen Ryan. I'm like, wait a minute, there are people who do this for a living. I forgot all about them. That's sad, but it's true. It's kind of like the old media, but it's still in a digital age. So thanks for the voicemail, Jesse. I totally empathize with asking your friends, why did you think I would like this? I think I've done that a few times.
Yeah, speaking of Mo Ryan, tangential, but some folks might be interested. She announced in the past few days that she's going to be writing a book about Battlestar Galactica. So those who are big BSG fans are looking to do a rewatch or whatever, look for a book. I'm sure Mo's going to dig into all sides of that. So good stuff.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, that does sound pretty cool. All right, we also got a voicemail from Scott on Cape Cod, and amongst a few things, he wanted to talk about Severance.
Regarding Kevin's 2 in a Minute about how long you give a new show before you decide to give up, and whether recommendations from trusted friends influence that decision. I recently experienced that when I resubscribed to Apple TV when Foundation came back. Kevin and Wendy both suggested I check out Severance, so I did. As a rule, I don't have a certain number of episodes to watch before I make a decision, and frankly, I'm pretty lenient when it comes to deciding when to stop watching a new show. I usually give it quite a while, and I can only remember a small handful of shows that I gave up on even after, let's say, half a dozen episodes. That's very rare for me. But honestly, Severance didn't really grab me very quickly. And without their recommendation, I might have lost interest after 3 or 4 episodes. It was a little slow, I guess, although that sometimes doesn't bother me. But anyway, that's how it was. And however, because they both recommended it highly, I stuck with it and have now finished the first season, and I'm glad I did. It was always kind of an interesting show, but by the end of the first season, it became pretty fascinating. And I'm looking forward to checking out season 2. So thanks for the recommendation.
Hi, Scott. Thank you. I was very similar to you. The first time I tried to watch Severance, I think I watched the first 3 episodes, and I was like, yeah, that seems like enough. And I gave up. And thanks to Kevin and a preponderance of other friends as well, but mostly Kevin, because I figured if he could stick with it, I probably could. And I was glad that I did. And like you, I'm now moving on to season 2.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Well, we got a great community here, and I want to put another plug for our Discord. So that's a great place to go if you want to find out about a show, if you're just a little curious, or you want to ask a group of tuners, as we call them, hey, what show should I watch? You can get some great recommendations over there.
Yeah, very excited to hear that you stuck with it, Scott, and you enjoyed season 1, because, season 2 is going to be quite the ride. That's all I'll say. No spoilers. Looking forward to hearing from you, Wendy, or others on your season 2 watch of Severance, especially, because there is just some awesome stuff in there for sure. And good to know that our recommendation, helped out. Because again, I kind of a tip of the hat. You were one of the folks, along with Wendy and some others, but certainly your name there, Scott, as far as getting me back to Foundation. And I greatly enjoyed the last season. So friends helping out friends.
Gotta love it. All right. Heading on to some news that we think you might be interested in. I think we're interested in it. First up, some great news if you're a fan of Daredevil, Marvel's Daredevil. Born Again on Disney Plus has been renewed for season 3. There was some speculation, mostly from the star of the show, who kind of hinted that it might have been over with season 2, that it might have only had 2 seasons, but it's going to have 3. Now, season 2 hasn't aired yet. Season 1 just finished on April 15th, so season 2 is going to air next year around that same time, March-ish, 2026. Nobody has an exact date yet. But season 3 has been officially announced by Disney Plus as being renewed. So I'm excited about that. I did enjoy season 1.
Yeah, I am glad they're going to give it at least 3 seasons. I have some concerns after season 1. Do like our lead here, but had some concerns about some story choices, some pacing, and so forth. So hopefully season 2 is going to get better, in which case I'll be excited to see season 3. So this one, I'm a little bit concerned, but glad we're going to have more.
Well, I'm definitely glad we're going to get more, and I'm hopeful that we're going to move the ball forward a little bit in terms of story and character development. We talked about that previously, so I'm just going to be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I got to clarify my point about being, enjoying it. I did enjoy it, but it had its flaws, and I agree with both of you that pacing was a big part of it, and some of the story choices were off. So, yeah, hopefully they've proved it. Maybe the medics have come in at Disney Plus and said, "Hey guys, got to go a little faster. Come on, get this thing moving." All right, Kevin, you've got a link to It. Welcome to Derry.
It, yes, we're going to the horror side of things, which we don't talk about often here. Not our go-to side of the genre, but coming to HBO Max, as many of you know from us talking about it previously, and just how popular the new It movies have been in the last few years, they had to go with the TV series style. So welcome to Derry. The trailer is out. That's the link in the show notes, folks, a couple minutes worth. And this, if you didn't already notice, I think we announced a little while back, the air date's coming near the end of October the 26th. So if you, want to go back, you enjoy being scared, you want to go back to the terrifying, clown and all that is the It universe, this looks to be a bit of a prequel to it. The trailer itself does its job, super creepy. So again, you want to be scared right around Halloween. Here's your opportunity.
Well, the timing is certainly great regarding Halloween in October, and I'm happy for people who are fans of this particular franchise, but it's just not for me. So, I'm sure it's very good quality and everything. It's just I'm not really into the horror stuff in this particular universe.
Yeah, agreed. It's good timing, and I'm right there with you, Wendy. We said it many, many times. Horror's not really my thing either, but I haven't even seen the It movies, so I'm familiar with it. You cannot not be familiar with the clown and all that stuff from It. So I know what it's kind of about, but I don't think I have terribly much interest in watching this.
Did you watch the original miniseries back in I think it was the 90s?
Not me.
No? Oh, okay. That's kind of a high watermark for me. I read the book, so it scared the crap out of me. But again, it was Stephen King, and I read almost all of his stuff back in the 80s and 90s. And it's exceptional, the book is. And so I'll be curious for those of you who have gotten into the newer movie remakes if the show is, on par.
All right, moving on to something that was adapted from another source, just like It. One Piece. Wendy's got a link.
Yeah, we'll have a link in the show notes to a sneak peek for One Piece Season 2. It's mostly some clips, but also the cast members talking about why they're so excited about the Straw Hats coming back, and just basically really pumped for the show and for, I think, some payoffs in terms of the team dynamics. I didn't watch season 1, but this little sneak peek was definitely appealing for someone like me who didn't even watch the show. So for those of you who are fans, I'm sure it's going to get you really excited. It's coming back in 2006, but no more specific date yet.
2006? It's going back in time, huh?
I'm sorry, 2026. Excuse me.
We're getting old. Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The people on Discord, again, there's a lot of people there on our Discord that love this show and talk about it a lot. I haven't seen it, just like Wendy. I haven't seen season 1. I haven't seen the source material either. It looks interesting. I don't know why I haven't watched it, especially since there's so many people on Discord who like it. I guess it's something I should watch sometime, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, the three of us are very similar in our thoughts on this. This is one that is on my list because of, very positive comments, again, Discord community and some other folks. And I got to give them credit. They're doing good in terms of kind of teasing. They've had a couple of these little sneak peeks or little promos, and it's keeping it, on my radar. This might be one I get to before it comes back. I'll have to see.
All right. Well, this next link may seem a little out of place on a genre television podcast, but, it fits. You'll find out why in a second. It's a link to the official teaser, really, not really a trailer, for Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. It's a movie, a theater movie, but it's based off of all of the seasons of The Mandalorian that we've enjoyed here on the podcast, that we've all enjoyed watching. I dug this teaser. Again, there's very little in here. In fact, only I think 2 words are spoken in the entire teaser. And I think that's to play on the fact that Mandalorian doesn't talk a lot. He's more like the strong silent type. But it made me smile to know that we're coming back, that we're getting some like movie quality special effects, it looks like, some big epic stuff. And who knows who else will appear in this, because I don't know if if we've mentioned it before, but the plan was that all of the TV Star Wars shows, I don't know about Andor, but definitely Ahsoka and some of the others, are going to mesh into a big like Avengers style movie at some point, that Dave Filoni is trying to put together. So this is like the first step towards that. And then I think there's going to be maybe a couple more movies, and then they're going to have this big like Avengers style movie. So, it's a great little teaser. I got a kick out of it. Like I said, it's a funny joke at the end. I love the whole, good job, baby, at the very end. I guess there's more than 2 words, but anyway, it's fun and worth watching. It's going to premiere in theaters in May of 2026. That's all we know so far. I imagine it'll be on Disney Plus sometime soon after that.
Yeah, this was nice to see. We've known this is coming. That's why we're not getting the show anymore. As you pointed out, I was excited to check it out. I was a little, I don't know if disappointed is the word, or underwhelmed, because it's not a lot here other than showing some of the characters and stuff, just to remind us it's kind of coming, with a couple little nods to the humor. I'm suspecting I'm probably going to go see it in the theater. I love this show so much. The chance to see it right away, probably pretty good shot, even though I know, like you said, these things tend to come to Disney Plus pretty quickly, which is great. But I don't know, this might be fun to see in a theater.
I liked the trailer a lot. It had that Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of vibe to it for me. Just in terms of, it felt like theater, adventurous theater to me. And I don't know if I'll watch it in the actual theater. I might. I think I'll have to wait until I actually see a proper trailer. But it was super fun. I loved seeing Sigourney Weaver, and the whole comedy scene with her and Grogu. Yeah, this just looks like a lot of fun. There was, I think, some comments about people wondering if they saw characters from Rebels in the background, but I didn't watch it enough times to decide if I saw anybody or not.
Yeah, definitely Zeb from Rebels is in there. He does a flip in a hallway. And there's another guest star that's very exciting, and that is the Razor Crest ship is back. He's got a new one, clearly. It's painted differently than the one that blew up in, what was it, season 3, 2, whatever it was. 2, I think. Yeah, we're getting another Razor Crest. That's cool. But Sigourney Weaver's awesome. All right, and moving on. Kevin, you've got a first look at something called Talamasca?
I do, and those of you that are fans of the Anne Rice novels, the Anne Rice universe, will recognize probably that title, that name. This is a show, Talamasca, The Secret Order, that is coming to AMC and AMC Plus, also near the end of October the 26th. The link we have in the show notes for you folks isn't the trailer. Trailer came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago. This is a behind-the-scenes look, and this was kind of good for someone like me who is not familiar with the universe, because this gives you some of the actors and showrunner talking a little bit about what the show is and seeing a little bit of footage of it. It's kind of your traditional, at least from the setup or the setting, or, urban fantasy idea of vampires existing, people not believing it. There's a group that's in charge of kind of keeping them separate from the real world or that kind of thing. So again, if you like that concept or Anne Rice, whatever, this might be one if you've got access to AMC Plus. 2 episodes are dropping there on the 26th, and then I believe weekly from there. Looks like a pretty strong cast. So, check it out.
Yeah, this was nice to get some background filler about this show. It does have a good cast. Elizabeth McGovern, one of the leads. I don't have AMC Plus currently, but if I did, I would probably put these Anne Rice shows. I know a couple people, including Shannon from the House of the Dragon podcast, who are big fans of the other Anne Rice shows that are on AMC. So it looks good. It's just not some good timing for me to see it.
Yeah, the formula of the universe you talked about, Kevin, we've seen it before. We've seen that before. It's not a brand new concept of this whole ancient, hidden culture and organizations and stuff. But it's been a few years since there's been one of those on the air. So I think it might be time. I think I will see if I can figure out how to watch this and give it a look. All right. And for our last article, Wendy's got something about Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, so we just wrapped up on Strange New World Season 3, and we had, some episodes we really liked, some that we were like, do we need that right now? And some were, I would say, more Star Trek-y than others. The showrunners claim that Season 4, which has already been filmed, will be better because, number one, there's no strike. And that was definitely part of the discontinuity for the show in terms of the time that they had to write the seasons, to write the episode. They had to do a startup, a shutdown, and then a startup again. So that definitely took away from, being able to do their best in terms of every single episode. They also had staffing changes that impacted things. So and also the writers now are very comfortable with the actors in terms of what are their strengths and can really write to those. So I'm going to, take that to the bank and hopefully their idea of better lines up with my idea of better for Season 4.
Yeah, I saw 2, in my opinion, major problems with Season 3. One was the disconnected nature. Everything was a little disjointed. And that's what they addressed. And they said, well, we knew that going in. They admitted it. They said, yeah, like you said, because of all the strikes and things, that it was going to be kind of a jumbled hot mess. They knew that. And they apologized for that. And so fine, I'll take their word on that and trust them. The other thing I didn't really like about Season 3 was all the experimental episodes. And the bad news for me is they're saying, oh no, those are still happening. We still like those. We're still going to do these strange off-the-wall episodes. And I'm like, oh man, just do Star Trek, guys. Come on, stop it with these crazy experiments. But apparently they're going to continue doing that. But at least we're going to get a through plot line, or at least the season's going to make sense as opposed to Season 3.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, naturally, after the season ended, I saw several articles on different, fandom sites and other spots about, the problems or issues with the season and da-da-da-da. And while, we've talked about them too, having, the executive producers and these folks come out, I have a good feel and a bad feel from this article and the fact they're acknowledging it. As you said, the fact that they are pointing out why it kind of happened and they're aware of it. Okay, good. But as you said, I like you've got what, 10 episode season? Okay, 1, maybe 2 experimental episodes because you might hit on one of them is okay. But yeah, too many of those, that takes away from, what I want to see too. So I'm a little concerned there, but again, they're aware it's already been filmed, which means, did they know all this or are they backpedaling? I don't know. I don't want to overthink it since this is one of my favorite shows in the last few years. But I guess overall, I'm glad they're acknowledging it. They see it, which means they probably addressed it in this upcoming season. So bring it on.
All right. Cool. Moving on now to the Tuner Minute to round out the water cooler. This one is recorded by me, and it's entitled Lost Habits. Many of us have stopped going to the theater much, and some, like me, don't go at all. If you cut back on your theater going, then what habits did you enjoy when you were at the theater? Did you buy snacks or drinks in the lobby before the show? Did you eat a special meal before or after the movie? A favorite restaurant near the theater, perhaps? Maybe you stopped by the local comic shop and did a little browsing. Personally, I would buy some popcorn and a drink before the movie, then swing through the local Burger King drive-thru for a fun treat after the show. Now that I don't go to the theater any longer, I instead find some treat to snack on at home during the film, and I forego the after-movie meal entirely. What habits did you give up or change? And did you replace them with habits at home? Or did you never stop going to the theater at all?
Yeah, my theater going, I was pretty active in going to movies for quite a while. It just kind of petered off as I got a little older and, wanted to put my entertainment money towards more streaming services, very honestly. That was where part of it went. So no, I don't go near as much. It's probably only a couple of times a year now, where it used to be a lot more. I'd be part of the loyalty program with AMC or the other theater, was in my area and stuff. And when I did go, I was someone who did, shall we say, the traditional popcorn and a soda. I wouldn't eat much of the popcorn, very honestly. And it was expensive as hell, but still it was like, that was the experience. When I watch movies at home, I don't buy popcorn. So no, it's not popcorn at home, but, I guess maybe I kind of keep the popcorn as just on those rare times I'm going to go to a movie, to do it. So, the home time movie viewing just kind of is, whatever the snack or food might be, whatever is going to fit in that day that doesn't really so much have a movie theme as just a enjoying myself at home kind of theme. But that's why, like I said earlier with the Mandalorian, trailer we touched on, that's one that might motivate me to say this could be cool on a bigger screen or maybe an IMAX viewing, to want to go see it there. Cause it's also like me seeing a TV show I've loved now on a bigger screen. So more of the event kind of stuff for me.
Yeah, I'm a little bit similar to you, Kevin. Actually, I might go see Downton Abbey movie because I love that show. That's probably the movie I'm most likely to see before The Mandalorian, and that would probably be the next one. In terms of, the habits, so I love to get popcorn at the movie theater, and one of our movie theaters has real butter on their popcorn. So I always get extra butter, giant popcorn, a pink lemonade, and a box of Junior Mints. That's kind of my habit for eating at the movies. And generally that's all gone by the time the previews are finished, finally.
Yeah.
But at home, I have no food habits around movies or television at all. It hasn't translated over at all. But I do expect when I actually retire, because there's these Tuesday cheap movies that I hear about from my friends who are retired, and they kind of make a little ritual of, they'll have lunch and then they'll go to the movies. I expect that might be the point at which my movie theater going kind of returns somewhat, but not for a couple of years.
Yeah, not for a couple of years. You hear that? Bank account? I'm kind of with you. I probably imagine that if and when I ever retire, that I might actually go back to the theater. But I was never a big theater goer. I never went to like, there are people, and I think you too, at some points in your life were like this, where you had like a schedule where you'd go like weekly or whatever. I never had that. I would go for like major blockbuster, films that I thought were interesting. I might go for. So I might go to the movie theater, back in the 80s, 90s. I might go to the movie theater 3-4 times a year. And then even into the 2000s, when the Marvel movies started dropping, I would go for a big Marvel drop. And that was pretty much all I would go for. And then, of course, the whole pandemic thing. And I'm like, you know what? I don't miss this. I don't miss the theater stuff. So I basically haven't been back in fact, I'm pretty sure I haven't been back to the theater since the pandemic at all. I know I haven't. And I'm quite content with waiting. Like I said, I think it has a lot to do with, Kevin said earlier that he thinks he's going to go see the Mandalorian Grogu movie, or potentially go see it so that he can see it when it comes out. And that might be a case of wanting to talk about it with people and maybe avoid spoilers and stuff. I don't care about spoilers. I have no problem talking about stuff, even if I've never seen it. I will watch people reacting to a movie before, that, like, for instance, the only thing that I would say is an exception to this is the recent Fantastic Four movie came out for sale. You could rent it or buy it online digitally. And I saw people reacting to it, and I thought to myself, I can either watch this without having watched the movie, which I have done for other movies before. And I'm obviously not getting the whole movie, but at least I'm getting the gist of it and getting people's thoughts on it. Or I can wait till it comes to Disney Plus and then watch reactions, or I could just go buy it. And I ended up just buying it. And the reason I bought it was twofold. One, I may not have Disney Plus forever. It may show up on Disney Plus and go away at some point. So it'd be nice to have it digitally. I'd like to have it physically, but I don't know. I'm perfectly fine with buying it digitally, which I did and watched the reactors to it. But I have what I'm trying to get to, my point is I have no reason to go to the theater. I don't enjoy the experience. I thought it was kind of cool when I would go before because it was, a treat, but I'm just not a social person, I guess. I just don't like going in places with a bunch of people, a bunch of strangers, and sitting in some other place that isn't my living room or my office and watching something. So I have no interest to go back, but I do keep up some traditions, like some meal tradition, like I talked about. But yeah, a lot of it is not applicable since I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, and it might have been for me. I mean, I can remember really going a lot, especially in my late teens, early 20s. I mean, I loved going to see movies, but it was also at a time, as all of us Get Off My Lawn folks know, if you didn't see it in the theater, you weren't going to see it in its original form for a long time until, HBO came along and so forth a little later. So I have memories still of seeing the original Alien movie and Aliens and The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai and The Terminator and being, I also loved, I know at the time, and it doesn't happen now, you're pointing it out, a great example, Brent, with reactors, there'd be something where all you'd get would be a trailer or a small description of a movie, and you'd go in almost blind. Because, and that was part of the fun, having, only a little idea what it might be about, and then sometimes being gloriously excited, want to go back, and other times wanting to leave halfway through. And it was a bit of that adventure part. Now, I mean, you got to work hard to avoid the spoilers for a guy like me who doesn't want to know them, or the over analysis of trailers and everything else. It's such a difficult balance.
Yeah, you raise a good point, Kevin, about the opportunity, right? If you didn't see it in the movies, it was going to be a couple of years before it would come to a TV channel that might have it. We also had some shows, series like Harry Potter, for instance, always came out around the holidays. So it was definitely our family tradition. I think it was around Thanksgiving frequently that we would go see Harry Potter, same with Lord of the Rings movies when they were all the original ones. And I did have friends probably when I was in my 20s and 30s where, at least once a month we would do dinner and a movie. as a group, and that was kind of our social thing to do. And honestly, just the way people act in movie theaters is a big disincentive. People tend to be a lot louder. The theaters tend to be dirtier and just not as enjoyable an atmosphere. That's definitely a disincentive, and just the cost as well in more recent years have all been reasons why I have to either really want to see it on a big screen versus just waiting for it to come to Netflix or HBO or someplace else.
You raise a really valid point, Kevin. Like when you said the whole waiting thing, that had something to do with me watching those big blockbusters in theaters, in my earlier years, was because it wouldn't come out on VHS for like a year. And like Wendy said, it wouldn't be on TV for like 2 years. So if I wanted to see it and enjoy it, I would go. It's not a case of me not wanting to be spoiled or wanting to talk to people about it necessarily, but me seeing a movie and saying, yeah, that's a big movie and it looks really cool. I want to go see it and enjoy it. I don't want to wait a year or 2 years. What's really funny though, Kevin, is when you listed all those movies that you saw in the theater, like Terminator and Buckaroo Banzai, I was running down the list and checking in my head. Yep. Saw each one of those as a rental on VHS from the rental store. I never went to the theater for any of those.
And that led into, and again, I'm doing the Get Off My Lawn, in the 80s sometimes the rental store could expose you to those films that maybe you missed if you weren't a theater goer, or even like someone who, maybe that was, you couldn't get out, you still had a job and other stuff. So it was the great way to go, what is this one? I don't remember hearing about, so it was that discovery part of it too that's kind of gone. I mean, as we know now, Hollywood tends to only be doing the things they know they're going to make money at. The experimental stuff, the odd stuff. I mean, I love that and always have. So, it's, you don't get as many, like I said, of the Buckaroo Banzai or some of those other totally out of left field, Night of the Comet and some of those other cool things that just weird stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we just glossed over it, but DVDs and the DVD store, that was a whole thing that replaced going to the movies for a lot of people. And, made people realize, oh, it is nice and comfy to watch at home, and you can hit pause and get up and make a snack or go, go to the bathroom and not miss anything when you watch at home.
Well, and that too, and it also happened, I mean, at least certainly for me in terms of where I was in my life, that was a time too when I had more income to buy a nicer TV that made watching it at home worthwhile. It wasn't a 12-inch black and white. The theater experience was all the mile better just based on size of screen, quality of picture, and so forth. And as we got into the 80s, I mean, those TVs got less expensive and much better quality-wise that you could almost have that theater experience just in your home.
Yeah, you both reminded me of the evolution. I mean, I talked about going to the VHS rental store, but then I remember once that they started coming out on DVD after 6 or 9 months, I would basically see a whole bunch of movies that came out that weren't big enough for me to want to go to the theater for, but I'd actually have a list, Kevin, believe it or not. I'd write it down. And when it became available on Netflix, I would rent the DVD. I'd throw it in my queue as soon as it was available. Sometimes it was available before it was even out. You could put it in your queue in Netflix even before it was available. And I would watch them that way. I would just have Netflix send them to my home because it was just so much more convenient.
Oh, goodness, yeah. Now we're dating ourselves with the Netflix by mail and getting excited when you get the notification that the movie you had at the top of your list was finally available and it's on its way to you.
Yeah.
No, and I remember that going, all right, I know what I'm watching Friday night kind of stuff.
Exactly.
That made it fun.
Yeah, and you were trying to figure out how fast you could watch it.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be amazing to hear from you folks, either through feedback, voicemail, or whatever, or on Discord. How have your habits changed? Movie-going habits. How have they evolved? Because you hear from us that this has engaged a lot of a discussion with us because it sparked a lot of cool memories. So what do you guys think? Let us know. All right. Heading to the back porch where a bunch of spoilers live. Today we talk about Alien Earth, School Spirits, and Harley Quinn. First up on the back porch, I'm going to kick off a discussion of Alien Earth, and I'm going to kind of talk about the whole first season, and I really hope there is a second season. First of all, I want to start with that because the first season ends on this kind of a cool it could be a series ender. It really could. And then you just kind of use your imagination to figure out where it goes from there. Or a great cliffhanger for next season. With Wendy and the other hybrids basically taking over and the other company coming in to attack. I imagine Wendy and her xenomorphs and the other hybrids are going to mop the floor with them too, probably, and then maybe even take control of their company. It seems like something big is happening, but this is a prequel to the Alien movie, keep in mind, and Aliens, the original franchise that we saw. So those corporations still existed then. So I don't think she's going to be too successful at that. So there's going to be some kind of other ending here. But I am really curious where it's going to go next season. So I just totally enjoyed this season. I know that there's been some discussion on our Discord. There are some people who didn't like it. We have a poll up right now asking what you thought of it. And while I think the vast majority of the people so far are saying they either it was okay or they liked it or really enjoyed it, there were some people who said, there was at least one who said they absolutely did not like it. And there were some people who saying they don't want another season, which kind of blows my mind because it was just amazing. There are some key things I love about it. I just want to call out. One is Wendy's ability to deal with the xenomorphs and her way to communicate, and the one that she bonded with, and that one bonding with another young one now, and she's kind of developing her own little crew, xenomorph crew. I thought that was really cool. I think his name is Adam Enos, the legal guy who seemed like he was like the assistant to Cavalier, who turned out to be a synth, and probably the synth that Cavalier said was his dad replacement that he built. I love how he started smacking Wendy down, and Wendy just raised her hand and said, stop or no or whatever. And he just froze, and his eyes are going back and forth like, what the hell's happening? And she's like, she tells Joe, he's on the network, and he's artificial, and he's on the network. He's a machine on the network. I can control him. I thought that was just amazing. She definitely has tons of power. So obviously in the next season, something's going to have to happen to kind of temper that a little bit. But we get some great other cliffhangery things in this. Arthur on the beach, he had already had the chest burster come out, so he was dead. And we saw some crabs starting to think about making a meal of him. And the xenomorph came and looked at him and then walked away. But the eye guy at the end, after he had tried to jump into Joe and Wendy had smacked him about, went down a drain and found Arthur and ran into his head and reanimated him. So we've got a zombie in this show now, which is amazing. The whole Morrow and Kirsch fight. I honestly thought Morrow would kill Kirsch. I didn't think he was ready, but it was great that he was ready, and then he fought and did a really good job, and then it looked like he was dead, gonna die at one point, and then he came back, and then it looked like the boys came in, but they just tied Kirsch up too, because at that point the objective from the orders from Wendy were collect all the humans and put them in a holding cell. But I'm digging. I love the way this series built, and I love where it went. And like I said, I'm kind of giddy. This is a series that I'm really excited about, and I hope that they have a season 2. I'm hearing some words on our Discord that apparently some people are saying it's not getting great ratings, which is not good news. But if you trust me at all and you're listening and you haven't watched it, I suggest you watch it. It's really cool.
Yeah, this one was a challenge, not in a bad way for me, because when I was initially watching, I'd say about the first half of the season, I mean, it's an 8-episode season, I was having a little trouble because I'm watching trying to connect with characters fairly early on in the show. I mean, obviously, Alien Universe, going to be cool special effects, xenomorphs, all that, but I'm trying to identify with some characters, and I have to admit I had trouble connecting to Wendy and the other, doing my air quotes here, kids, because they were children, emotionally, and therefore it was hard as things were going horrible, to watch them trying to deal with what's going on. So I had trouble. I liked what I was seeing, but I wasn't identifying with it. Once I kind of stepped back from that and looked more at the story and some of the synths and the other characters and what was happening on the bigger corporations fighting with each other and the idiocy of I think we call him Boy, the leader of our group. It's like the 5 corporations that run the world. There's a lot of really good stuff here and stuff to enjoy. So the back half of the season I enjoyed more because I was watching it differently. It's cerebral to me, more than like many shows that are, like I said, more emotional. You're attaching to a character. The Wendy character, the more we went on, the more comfortable I got because she became more mature and more aware of what's really going on. And as you said, Brent, realized how powerful she was, the things she could do, which was kind of cool to watch happen. Very scary that she can communicate with xenomorphs. I mean, come on, gang, that is super scary. Do not get her upset at you. So there's some cool stuff there. As you mentioned, the showdown between our two, shall we say, badass enforcers was kind of cool. I love Timothy Oliphant. I mean, he's good here, but because he's playing, not a robot, but you know what I mean, artificial life form, you don't get a lot of the cool Timothy Oliphant stuff that you can get from other shows he's been in. He's a little more tempered or measured, but he's still cool at what he's doing. So there's a lot in here to enjoy. I definitely hope we get another season. I know, the showrunner who wrote all the episodes, and had this whole vision, did for years to get this thing to come to life, really wants there to be another one and is pushing for it. But it's got to be a very expensive show. So whether or not the network is going to want to put that much money in, and I guess we'll have to wait to see. But I do hope there's more. So it is one I would recommend, certainly if you're a fan of horror or sci-fi horror, or just looking at some very cool visuals in a universe you'll understand and appreciate, along with some other characters, or shall we say, creatures, villains, besides just the xenomorph, as you're pointing out, the eyeball thing that was super gross and the other stuff that's super gross. There's a lot here to like. It was kind of odd for me getting into it this season. I think I would benefit from doing a rewatch, and probably will if we get an announcement of a season 2. Then it'll be worth kind of going back to it and maybe identifying with parts of it. So if someone asked me, I would say, yeah, just don't go in looking to say that, I'm a fan of these two characters, although maybe you'll enjoy that innocent approach that some of these kids had.
Yeah, characters-wise, I attached to Wendy episode 1 and Kirsch episode 1. It might have something to do with Timothy Oliphant that I tied onto Kirsch, but I just dug his character quite a bit. And also Curly by the end, the one who was competing to be his favorite, Boy Cavalier's favorite. I really like her too. The other kids are just annoying. I never really connected to them.
Annoying is the word. Thank you. That's the word. And each of them were occasionally too. That's what kind of took me out of some of the real horror stuff is happening, and they're just saying some of the stupidest things because, again, they're children, mentally. So, yeah, by the end, by those last couple of episodes, as you mentioned, Curly and, Wendy, taking over, and all of them was like, oh, okay, now we've definitely turned a corner here, and this could be very interesting where you could go into season 2, especially we're on this island where, that can have everybody cut off from true support. Yeah. Like I said, my experience differed a little from yours because I just latched onto characters from the beginning, but I think we got to the same point in the end, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's why it depends on how you're kind of watching it. You're right. It's not that I didn't attach to Wendy, but I think I kept looking for a couple more to be there with her, and the other ones weren't, certainly early on for me. So, that's why I say I think a rewatch I would benefit from and probably appreciate the show more. Yeah.
So, absolutely. Listening to you two talking, I will try to do my part to help you get a second season by watching season 1 as soon as I can.
Yeah, it's eight episodes, and a lot of them are like an hour, 15 minutes. I mean, it's a lot of content. I mean, for 8 episodes, they're not like 35 minutes or 40 minutes. Most of them are at least an hour. Have you not seen any of it, Wendy? I thought you saw some of it.
No, I saw the free first episode. The
great
one that
Hulu
was
Apocalypse with you. I forgot about that.
Yes, yeah, and then I had the Hulu Apocalypse, yep.
Okay. Yeah, you should. I think it'd be great to hear your thoughts when you see it. All right. Well, thinking of hearing thoughts about a show that we've seen already, Kevin, School Spirits.
Yeah, last podcast I talked about watching season 1 and enjoying it and looking forward to season 2. Well, I've watched all of season 2, and I got to say, I greatly enjoyed it. I thought season 2 is a major step up from season 1, at least for me, in terms of engagement. Some of the storylines, the curveballs they threw in, some of the characters I didn't care too much for early on, I was now very invested in. What's going on in this universe, how people, the whole can they move on and other things, along with the other stuff we had with Janet coming in. and our Mr. Martin, what are they doing and stuff happening. I just, I'm very glad I went back and did give it the chance. Like I said, the first 5 or 6 episodes of season 1, man, without the recommendation, again, from community, people I trust, I would have been, I'm out, because this thing was just a little too by the book and not exactly engaging. They threw some nice wrinkles at the end of season 1, and then season 2, they were like, yeah, we're going to throw all of it and pull the rug out from under you a couple of times, get some different people to see different folks from the afterlife and all. So kudos. I'm very glad that it's going to be coming back for season 3.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you got hooked. It was pretty predictable and not very innovative in the first part of season 1, but once we started getting some of the mysteries unfolding and getting the backstories on some of the characters, and I thought season 2 really was very good.
Yeah, I thought season 2 was really good too, but it's been a while since it's on, and I have to admit that old problem that we're having, especially as we get older, I can't remember most of it, but I know I loved it, Kevin, so I'm glad you like it too.
Yeah, and I'll probably, since it'll be a while before we get season 3, meaning because season 2 just finished a couple months ago, I'll probably have to go back and rewatch it for that same reason. Well, I did love it, and I got some of the characters' name ingrained right now. 6 months from now, I'm probably going to have forgotten because we got so much other content I dive deep into. But yeah, kudos to them. And I'm very curious, where they left it in terms of what season 3 might be. So I'm hoping it stays as creative as it got in season 2.
Yeah, we might have a new ghost person or whatever the main character was. How much I remember from the end of season 2, kind of a cliffhanger. All right, well, another show that Wendy and I have quite enjoyed, and Kevin is starting to watch. He's going to talk about Harley Quinn.
Yep. It's the phrase, stop the presses or whatever. Yes, you folks with your positive, relentless approach to tell me I should be watching Harley Quinn finally worked, folks. After I watched or finished School Spirits season 2, I jumped into Harley Quinn, and I've watched all of season 1. And yes, it is, as you all already know, a ton of fun. There's some great laugh out loud stuff. It is irreverent and crazy and bloody and everything else, but some of the humor really hits, and it's just a nutty set of characters. So I've definitely enjoyed it. I will be watching the other seasons and catching up. I think there's a total of already 5 seasons out there, so this might take a while, but hopefully it'll get me caught up before there might be some new content. But again, thank you to so many people, I can't even name you all, besides just my co-hosts, that have said, no, I know you hate animation, Cap, but Harley Quinn, really. And just so you all know, I didn't give up. I did eventually go there to it, since I do have HBO Max, and those 22-minute episodes are great when I just want to smile.
Yep, it's really, really good, Kevin.
I think I heard that somewhere.
Yeah. Plus, you didn't even mention the Harley Ivy ship, which is awesome.
Well, it's up through season 1. It's not,
it hasn't started yet.
It's teased, but you can tell it's coming.
It just gets better and better.
Yep.
Yeah, isn't the Poison Ivy Kite Man part of season 1?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is even funny in and of itself. That's a riot too.
Yeah.
Just watching her try to deal with him and her feelings for him. So yeah, I guess I got to give him credit. The writing has been really funny.
Yeah. You may not be into animation, but just as with Ruby, I knew that, and we all knew that your one weakness is strong female characters who kick butt, and that's what you get in this show. So, it's a crazy show. I mean, I enjoyed the formula of get a bunch of second bananas on the bad, on the villain side, and turn them into a group of heroes. It's kind of a group of anti-heroes. Kind of cool.
Yeah, watching her interact with Batman and how, and all that's trying to go on there, is she's trying to get the recognition she craves and all that goes with it. It's a lot of fun. So if you're sitting here listening and you haven't watched season 1, folks, yeah, it like I say, fun stuff. Definitely got a smile every episode, if not a laugh out loud moment or two. And it's great. The voices, you recognize several actors are well known, for whether it's other voice work or just other work. And they had me looking up the names of some folks who are only in an episode or 2, but I'm like, I recognize that voice. So it's been great that way too.
Lake Bell and Kay the Cuoco, great voices.
Oh,
great
it's the
choices.
leads. Yeah, they are.
Yes,
but
they're great.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Even others, so like you're talking about.
Others.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk and others.
Alan Tudyk, yeah.
Yep. No, it is.
Yep. It's bonkers awesome.
Yep, big thumbs up on to season 2 for me.
Awesome. Got another animated show for Kevin. Great.
Sweet.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode, folks. Maybe we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Maybe it'll be a month. Who knows? We never know these days. But we appreciate you hanging along and listening to us and sticking with us and dropping by our Discord. So appreciate that very much. Thank you for Kevin and Wendy for being here. And I'll catch you next time.
Have a great week, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. We will see you soon.
If you'd like to contact us here at Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV, we offer a wide variety of feedback options, including email at feedback@tuningintoscifitv.com, our voicemail at 706-927-8478, on Skype voicemail at Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV, or you can visit our website at tuningintoscifitv.com to find the link to our forums or to use the SpeakPipe widget to leave us a voice message. You can also find us on Twitter at twitter.com/tuningintosci-fi or on Facebook at facebook.com/tuningintosci-fi TV.
The theme music for Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV is by Beatnik Turtle, used with permission. You've been listening to Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV, episode 679, recorded September 29th, 2025.